So Lola, the bulldog, is she's ripping right now. So you'll hear her in the background. Uh, I wanted to discuss Epictetus and a little, just a little bit about um, some things. When you talk a lot and when you say things, um, you often get ridiculed. You put stuff out there, and there's going to be people who absorb it. I mean, I've experienced where people are like, I really like what you said, and then other people been like, you need to talk less. So I get it. Um, I like to talk. I learn a lot from discussion and experience. So, Epictetus, like I've said, and like I said, my delve into philosophy brought a lot of clarity to my own life. And, he said, if you desire philosophy, prepare yourself from the beginning to be ridiculed, to expect that many will sneer at you and say, he has all at once returned to us as a philosopher, and whence does he get this supercilious look for us? So it goes on further, but he says that you never really try to become a philosopher for externals. Like, like I told a student, like he said, do you remember what he said to me? I said, to be quite honest, I don't remember because it wasn't scripted. It was organic. It was what I felt in the moment for you. Um, Again, going back to Stoics, that's an opinion. I don't know what's right for people at different times. But what I said to that kid at that time was not something I wrote down, not something I did, not something that I tried to put out and make, any gains from. And he says that. He says that you don't become a philosopher for the externals, right? That um, you know, be satisfied then in everything with being a philosopher. And if you wish to seem also to any person to be a philosopher, appear so to yourself, and you will be able to do this. But don't seek um, becoming a philosopher for fame and fortune. It just is not really um, what they're you know Epictetus and you know Socrates or any of the great philosophers of ancient time or even present time. They don't do it to gain fame and fortune. Um, and there's this whole other thing about humility. And as I talked yesterday and spoke yesterday, that my life has been you know ups and downs, as all of ours has. Like every single person has varying degrees of ups and downs. Everybody's life is different, and um, we have to be open to that. And this ultimate kind of point of humility, I think people jump to conclusions about things, and I thought, it's really really hard to write a resume. um, it's really really hard to be self promoting, um, because of the deeply even more deeply understood humility that I have as I get older, and understanding how much information that I will never know, that I don't know, um, how good I am not. Um, and I don't mean that like in terms of like, when we say you're not good or we're not good. I don't mean that we can't say that you know, we're good at heart. You can be very good at heart and soul and mind and body, but you can be a very bad handy person. You can be very bad at mechanical stuff. You can be bad at mathematics. Like, what you have to understand is that you're not that good. And you're not that good at a lot of things. And I think when you recognize that, you lose a little bit of that arrogance. Um, I think that there's people that cast judgment on academics, and academics that cast judgment on other people. And I've said that too. A mechanic works on your car so you can get to school and teach and be a professor. The professor makes the money and teaches and passes on knowledge and gets paid for that, and by doing that they pay the mechanic. So it's more of a symbiotic relationship, and life should be more about symbiosis rather than differences. And he says, a really good um, quote that he says. It's a part of a quote. I'm paraphrasing. He says, "Wish to be considered to know nothing, and if you shall seem to some to be a person of importance, distrust yourself." You know, I I think I put jerseys on the wall and things like that. I mean, I'm very understanding that I have nothing to do with other people's success. There's nothing that I say, nothing that I do impacts someone's life in a way. Like, it's all about you. I think confidence and things like that, and when you put stuff out there, you can seem as if you are self-important. Um, and I think that's it. I look at this quote, right. If you think you're someone of importance, distrust yourself. I think if we could do that all a little bit more, um, get off our high horses and understand that we have to realize that we are good at some things, very good at some things, but you will never be good at everything. And I feel as if we are in a time, and I've said this before, that it's not that we're, you know, wanting for more information. There is so much information out there. It's actually, how do we filter the information that is relevant and important to us? So, you know, I don't care if I get views. I just don't, I want this to be kind of you choosing to watch it at will, right? So when I say all that, right? Like, you have to understand that we have to kind of look at where we kind of, excuse me, my dog's trying to get up. Where we're coming at, and um how we don't really want to be, you know, so much influencing other people, except for letting them recognize their own strengths, their own weaknesses. And I think it gets very negative when you start to say, like, oh, you have to, point out your weaknesses and all this. No, I think it's very important to recognize that you have them. Um, that because we all do. And your weaknesses are not my weaknesses. My weaknesses are not yours. And so, can I, you know, learn from some of your strengths? Can you learn from some of my strengths? And I think, that becomes a little bit tautological in terms of what I was talking about, last podcast or two podcasts ago, about becoming better at something. Um, but I think you can become a better person when you lose what we call ego. I I think that's a overused term, but arrogance. Um, walking too tall. And I think that if everybody who, especially in America, who looks at themselves as a person of importance, if they distrusted themselves a little bit more, um, I think we could be in a much better place. I could be wrong, um, but going back to it, um, if you want to be a philosopher, be a philosopher. Be a philosopher to yourself. Be a philosopher for all the right reasons. Be creative in your thought, your written word, your spoken word, your actions. Um, be everything that a philosopher would be, and people will mock you. They will make fun of you. Um, they will ridicule you, as Epictetus said. But the philosopher is unwavering. They don't mind, because they know why they're living the life that they're living. They know why they've chosen to live the way that they want to live. And yeah, if you have, you know, 10 people that go on to do better things in their life, live a fulfilled, happy life, um, then, or two or one or anything, it's a great thing to see, and to see those people succeed. And um, understand that um, You have very, very, very little impact um, on other people, and you're entitled to your opinions. And um, like I said, there's nothing that I'm going to say. It's how you're going to act. It's how you choose. It's the same thing. There's nothing really that I read or I see on YouTube or anything like that that is so inspirational. It's that moment when I choose to actually do something, when I actually choose to act in a certain way, or to refrain. And we'll talk about that. Refrain from um, saying something or speaking too much. So with that, I'll end this video. But you remember Epictetus, you know, you gotta, you gotta swallow your pride if you want to, really talk about philosophy and talk with others about philosophy and use your philosophy to help better the world. You got to get thick skin and get ready for it.